What's up, everybody? Live on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. We got it all. Now known as X for all the cool kids. Week 7, week 8 in the books. I was in, where the heck was I this morning? I was in Syracuse, New York for one of the weirdest games I've ever called in my career. It was Syracuse Pitt, and one of those games where the score was close, but never for a single second did my partner think, did anyone in the stands think that Syracuse was actually going to win that game? Fran Brown pretty much said as much. But it was a good experience. Fran Brown gave me a hat. It's in my other bag. Always one of the best coaches meetings. And then on the way back today, flew back at 6 a.m. It was funny. So when I'm watching all the film to get us dialed to do these segments, I'm watching the footage on my iPad on the plane until my eyes doze off when I fall asleep. But it's funny, the guy next to me, I didn't notice at the time, was a scout for the Chargers. So he pulls out his iPad and he's got the footage. And usually, it's footage is hard to come by. So then when I pulled out my iPad, I could tell you, like, looked at me like, what the hell are you doing? Because to me, I got like, I'm just in like a sweatshirt, hoodie. He's former offensive lineman. He's probably 6'3", 310 pounds. He looks like a football player. I look like a volleyball player. And he was like, what you doing? You coach? And I was like, nah, I'm studying up for this YouTube show right here and TikTok show and all that. But he was scouting. He's a scout for the Chargers, I don't even know how they divvy it up, but he had like 5 SEC schools and then all the small schools in the Southeast. So he was coming. I flew from Syracuse to Atlanta here. But it was funny just because this footage is hard to come by. So you happened to be seated next to the same guy who was down or watching it. So we were dialed on the same page. But you guys know the deal. We're running through some of the top games this weekend. I got 3 games, 4 different segments. We got first time I've dove into USC, I think, in the live show, maybe a second time. But we got a USC segment, Notre Dame segment, Garrett Nussmeier. Those of you guys that have followed the content, I've been a Garrett Nussmeier guy from the jump. People are falling off. People that are getting off the bandwagon, you shouldn't. He's playing at a really high level. I'm going to get into that. Not saying LSU's in a good spot, but Garrett Nussmeier is a baller. And people are losing steam with that. And then I got a Ty Simpson breakdown for the Alabama faithful, my third favorite fan base or fourth favorite fan base on social media. We got USC, Pitt, and then Utah, which got me started on my social media journey. And then now Alabama's become because I keep watching the footage. Appreciate you guys. We got a good little chunk of people on YouTube. Chat, how we living? Who do we got over there? Nicole, what's going on? AJ, good to see you. Brian, what's up? Immolation liquidation. What a username. What a what a username. Andrew, what's going on, man? Nicole, as always, first. Brian asked thoughts on USC ending the ND series. 7 out of 8 losses is tough. Is that official, Brian? I don't think it is official. I'm making a short form video on this because the scenario where the scenario that justifies USC backing out of the rivalry, we are on a path to making that happen. If you have a 10-2 Notre Dame that needs the USC game more than USC needs the Notre Dame game, and if USC finds himself at 9-3 at the end of the season, and they easily could have been 10-2 at the end of the season if they scheduled a cupcake, the optics of that could be game changing for whether or not they get into the CFP. Lincoln Riley is a reasonable man, and people want to make him out to like, people want to make USC out to be like, the soft guys, and why are you ditching the rivalry? Easy to say when Notre Dame has the invite to the playoff, and there is a world again where if USC scheduled a cupcake, they would find themselves in the playoff. And by scheduling Notre Dame, they're on the outside looking in. I'm not a USC apologist, but that scenario, we're heading down that path. And not to get sidetracked, but I asked that question. I was part of the mock selection committee on behalf of ESPN down there in Dallas a month ago. We went through the whole selection process in the exact room that the committee does it. And I asked that very question to the head of the college football playoff selection committee. I said, does the committee understand the responsibility that they have in terms of their role in the future of the USC Notre Dame game? And I could tell maybe I just asked a shitty question or I didn't word it correctly, but I could tell he was like, no, we just rank the teams and we do, we do our job. But my point is, depending on if USC finds themselves on the outside looking in on in the playoff, as a 9-3 team. Obviously, they have a lot of work to get to do to get to that point. It could very well that the future of this rivalry could be held in the hands of the CFP. Where do they reward USC at 9-3, or do they let 10-2 Virginia in from a non-Power 2 conference? Do they let a 10-2 BYU in from a non-Power 2 conference? That's the decision that could hold the future of the USC rivalry in its hands. And that's a good little segue over to the USC package. Let's share my screen here. We're starting with the play that annoyed me the most of anything in this weekend. Boom. Boom. All right, we are starting with the Makai Lemon fumble, the trick play. Everyone's been asking Lincoln about it, the whole deal. Notre Dame had just missed a field goal. It's my alma mater, USC, team I played for. USC's moving the ball into the Irish's side of the territory, down 3 in this game. 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But this was not just any fourth quarter. This was the fourth quarter. This is the one that should have been USC's turning point. In previous era and previous years for Lincoln Riley, this is where USC falls by the wayside. This was supposed to be the one moment, the moment that, hey, folks would look back a decade from now as proof of USC's transcendence into that upper echelon of college football. I don't think it's overstating it, the importance of this moment in this game, this season, this drive. And of course, we fumble on a damn trick play. Come on, SC. Come on, Lincoln Riley. He owned the play call. And come on, Makai Lemon, too. We got to hold the players accountable as well. You got to understand the situation. It's raining. You got gloves on. It's probably slick. Take the gloves off. I don't care if it makes it a decoy giveaway for the trick play. But anyways, I'll break it down. And actually, let me break it down here real quick because it'll be a good segue. All right, so we're going. USC's faking the inside zone to the left, reverse to the right, and they're trying to get Jacoby Lane on a little fake and then release down the field. That's the very common trick play. Nothing's groundbreaking. I have like 3 issues with this play. The first one is, why are you sliding the offensive line to the right and then you're going zone read to the left? The reason that matters is this safety and this linebacker for Notre Dame, they aren't threatened one bit by the zone read to the left. If you're going to if you're going to fake the zone read and pull a reverse, and then, oh, by the way, you want time for a non-quarterback to throw the ball, you have to get these defenders flying this way. And I'll play the play and you'll see the flow of the deep offensive line. Look at this, though. Yes, you're pulling a guard. The whole flow of the offensive line is going this way. I think that's Alani Noah. I know you're pulling him to the left, but gosh, I don't like that design. Left hash column, I like that. I don't like the design there. The flow. These linebackers for Notre Dame, they're going this way. They're not fooled at all. Also speaks to USC not being able to get the run game going. That's the first thing I don't like. Second thing I don't like. All right. We got to hold a player accountable. Yes, bad call by Lincoln Riley. I respect that he owned this in the media room. Makai Lemon, you're supposed to be a first-round NFL receiver, or that's how he views himself. Right here, you know the play is a crapshoot. First off, take your gloves off. It's raining. Those that don't know, gloves that are made for dry 3:30 p.m. kickoff in the Coliseum are not meant for a rainy South Bend day. Take your gloves off, and if they're going to be on. It also, if they're going to be on, know that this cannot happen, that this is the coaching point. And then I'll flip it on the coaches as well. It's bad coaching because you have to ingrain it. We had this trick play with Sark, Helton, Kiffin, all the guys. The coaching point right here is Makai Lemon. If this is not open, throw it away. Throw it or run. Like, why is he even trying to throw this ball? Like, this is not open at all when you look down the field. Second thing I don't like, Jacoby Lane, what are we doing here? We're like, I get you're covered. He's not even attempting to run a route here. Look at 8 on the bottom of the screen. He's just kind of lackadaisical. Burst, nothing, and then just kind of turns around. Help a brother out. Cut towards the sideline. Flash your hands. Come towards the ball. Run downfield. Don't just stand there doing nothing. His fault, coaching fault, I don't know. That's the second area. So there's the Makai Lemon issue. There is the Jacoby Lane help me out a little bit. And then from here, you just cannot throw the ball. Run, live to fight another day. It also looks like he kind of has small hands. I don't know. That was terrible. That was terrible call, terrible execution. Those are 2 veteran receivers. They got to have better football awareness on the road. Just terrible all around by the USC program. And the reason this is so frustrating is not the fact not the fact that there's a gap between USC and the college football playoff contenders like Notre Dame. It's so frustrating because that gap is so small, so small. But still, the gap is why Lincoln Riley decided to go with this play. If you believed that you could be the enforcer in a moment like this, in a rivalry game on the road, you don't feel the need to go gimmicky with a trick play. So it's a 2-part frustration. It does feel like USC is closer than they've been in years past in terms of a physicality standpoint. I know the USC fans listening to that like, Max, we're still far away. It reminds me of Clay Helton. It doesn't remind you of Clay Helton. This feels different than Clay Helton. We all know that. But there's that. And then the fact that you felt the need to go towards a trick play. When you look at the final AP poll rankings the past few years, it's Notre Dame clearly has the edge. There was the flash in 2022 with Caleb Williams. This was supposed to be the year that they can get in there, get in that contention. I'm still not waving the white flag. I think USC has a roster that could find a backdoor way into the college football playoff. I do. Even if you lose to Oregon, but they've got a lot of work to do, and they've got even more work to do to get into that upper tier where you're actually, there's levels to it. There's getting to the CFP, and then there's actually contending for a national title. USC's got work to do to even get into the CFP contention, and they've got even more work to do to get from a national title contention. But the reality is, if you don't have that trick play and USC wins that game, the entire narrative is completely different. And you can make the argument it's just off of one play here. Let me go back to share my screen, though. To break out some more plays. My next segment is going to be about the Notre Dame run game. Here's the issue with the USC run game. This is literally the first play of the game. It's supposed to be physical, supposed to be a different mentality. USC is going to run to the offense's left. They're going to pull guard out. He gets beat. And then your tight end, Lake McCree, who's motioning down, he's responsible for this linebacker. He gets destroyed as well. It's unfortunate leverage for Lake McCree, so hard for any tight end. But that's an area, and I'll get to this. This concept is one that Notre Dame ran and dominated USC in the run game. It's a concept that USC's offense tried to run, wants to run, had no success against the Notre Dame defensive line. I'll show you the all-22 footage, and then I'll get to the back view as well. Right here, you're pulling a guard across. He's kicking out this defensive end. This defensive end wins this battle. He offensive line-wise, you got to kick this defensive end out. Defensive end-wise, you got to hold your ground and not get thrown out at the club. Notre Dame wins this matchup. And then Lake McCree, coming from the tight end spot over here, is responsible for blocking this backer, and this backer destroys him. Notre Dame's tight ends consistently beat USC's defensive ends in the run game. Vice versa was not true for USC. Look at this. Loss, no yard gain. Excellent run defense by Notre Dame. They're fired up. That was literally the first play of the game. The flip side, when you look at Notre Dame, they outrushed USC 306 yards to just 68 for USC. 107 of Jeremiah Love's 228 rushing yards were after contact. This right here, though, is his boy, his counterpart, I want to make sure I get it, Jadarian Price. And this is an example of USC getting out of their run game or out of their gap slots. I just show you an example of Notre Dame's front seven giving it to USC's offensive line. Here's Notre Dame's offensive line giving it to USC's front seven. Guard kicking out here on 6. He gets destroyed. Tight end pulling around. It's going to lead up here on this linebacker. Both USC defenders. It's almost like USC. And I noticed this when we played at Notre Dame back in the day. It's almost like USC defenders go into South Bend and there's just a sense of being timid. Like there's not that aggressive, violent, I'm going to make a play. It's almost like they've been ingrained the whole week to stay in their gap, stay in their gap, stay in their gap. But they get almost timid in the hole and they're not physical. They're not playing ball. And what's his name? Burst through. Price. Jadarian Price. Again, right here. Kicking out. Tight end. Kicking out the end. Sorry. My bad. I got you right here. We just saw this look from USC. Now Notre Dame's going to give it to the Trojans. Guard kicking out on this end right here. Tight end coming back around and blocking this linebacker right here. If you're these two USC defenders, come make a play. Come be physical. Yes, be in your gap. That's okay. But be violent with your hands. Make something happen. Because if you don't, Notre Dame's offensive line and backs are just way too good. Bop, bop. Get to the second level. USC's inside linebackers had a real tough day. Real tough day. I mentioned the point about, hey, if you're confident in your bunch, you're not calling a trick play when you're driving in the fourth quarter. If you're confident in the physicality of your team, which is what we were preached to for so long, you're also not calling a play action pass on 4th and 1 when it's rainy and you're only giving your quarterback one option. So right here, you guys saw it. They're going to, I forget if it's a play action left or play action right, but it's going to be play action. And they've got Lake McCree, I believe, I forget what time it is, but they got a tight end out into the flat here. Only one option. Don't like the play call. You can see the push that the Notre Dame defensive line gets. So it's honestly like a good thing they at least gave themselves a shot because I don't think a dive would have worked either. But then I also don't like, and I didn't mean this to be the Makai Lemon, because Makai Lemon's a stud, but he does nothing on this play. And I don't know, maybe this is bad coaching. Maybe he's not even in the route concept and he's supposed to block. But if you're a first-round receiver, give me something. Get a corner. Flash your hands. Do something. Try to make a play. Try to help out your quarterback. He's got nothing there. You roll out. I mean, again, Notre Dame's not even threatened at all. You got 2 ND defenders here. Lake McCree is the only receiver in this progression. You got Makai Lemon doing whatever he's doing here, and Jade Mayava just can't make something happen. Frustrating play calls, execution by USC. A lot of opportunities to ultimately get that win on the road in South Bend, which I was telling my wife in the car today, the last time USC beat Notre Dame in South Bend, right, if I'm not mistaken, was the game that I was getting recruited off of. When I was a recruit, 2011, junior in high school, that's the peak recruiting year. The game that they would literally show highlights of, like in the Coliseum, was Jawanza Starling scoop and score 2011 to the house. That was like, oh, you come to USC, you can win these games. And then, shit, maybe I'm the curse. Sorry, SC fans who are seeing or who have not seen a win in the past, 14 years in South Bend. It was funny last night, little side note. When I was calling the Syracuse game, I was like, it's funny how when you're on your couch, you can do math about, hey, is this a 1-score game, 2-score game, like real quick. I was in the booth and I was like, is 23 minus, I'm doing it right now. It's 23 minus 7, 16 or 17. Gosh. And then like you overthink in the booth because I was trying to figure out 16 points had to be 2 scores. Anyways, sidetrack. I don't even know how I got there. But why can't we close the gap against Notre Dame? It's frustrating. It is awfully, awfully frustrating. Chat, how we doing? Adam, good to see you. Shoot ya. It's Lincoln Riley's signature at this point. Unfortunately, it is until he does something different. I don't know if I'm the only SC fan that feels this way, though. Maybe it's because Sark, to a certain degree, and Kiffin are having so much success. Lincoln's a good football coach, and it feels like the next premier program would snatch him up if he left USC, and we'd be sitting having deja vu 5 years from now when Lincoln Riley has the Florida Gators rolling in the swamp and we're out on our 17th head coach in the last decade. I don't know if I'm the only SC fan that feels that way, but gosh, I hope that doesn't happen. I'm a believer in Lincoln. I think he is a good football coach. I know SC fans don't want to hear that. It just hasn't aligned for him yet. Washington fan here. What happened to us this week? Would love your thoughts. I don't have a Washington segment today. I was surprised. I thought Washington was going to handle business. When I saw the line of Michigan favored by 5.5, I thought it should have been Washington favored by 5.5. Obviously, they shut down Damon Williams. I got to watch the film, though. I haven't watched the tape. It's funny, though, how things change in 2 weeks. Now that win looks really good for USC, that Michigan win. All right, let's go to the Notre Dame side of things. I mean, I guess I just did a whole segment on the Notre Dame side of things, but or the positive Notre Dame side of things. But I want to get into their running backs because these ND backs are special. They are special. This right here is Janarian Price. When I played against Notre Dame, and the extent of my playing was just warming up on the grass. I was a backup and third string for every single time that I played at Notre Dame. But when I game planned for Notre Dame, they did not have a back like him. They had some good backs, but this dude, top 5 running back class in his top 5 running back recruit in his class. Doak Walker award watch list. Earl Campbell, Tyler Rose watch list. And you're probably saying, Max, there's no way. Get out of here. Notre Dame has always had great running backs. They've had guys that have been carrying the ball for them every single year. That's Notre Dame's identity. And you're right. But every other year, they don't have a number 2 back in that spot on the depth chart like Notre Dame does this year, and a guy that's getting less than 20 carries a game that's an absolute baller. And the more that I looked into this, the more insane that I got. Like, check out the tape with me, listen to this research, and at the end of it, I think you can legitimately make the argument that the 2 best running backs in the country are wearing Notre Dame uniforms. Sounds crazy. I don't think it is. Notre Dame backfield is absolutely loaded. Check this first play out here. We already talked about it, so I'll rip through it. I said it from a negative USC point, but the reality is it's a pro Notre Dame stance as well. Right up the middle, gets to the second level in a hurry. We talked about the blocking scheme. That's early on in the game. Chunk yardage play, end of the first quarter. We talked about the blocking assignment. For those that are not seeing the first segment, I'll draw it again here. Notre Dame guard kicking out on this end. Notre Dame tight end looping all the way around and dominating this linebacker. 23 for USC. He gets lost in the combination block to him from guard to center. And this is just old-fashioned day one install, getting a hat for a hat. That's one thing that Notre Dame does so well against USC that it doesn't always translate. Notre Dame doesn't do this against everyone. They consistently get a hat for a hat. Hat for hat means exactly what it sounds like. One offensive blocker is getting assigned to the appropriate defensive guy, whether it's a linebacker or a defensive end. When run games get messed up, it's oftentimes because pulling guards and tackles are running into each other. A pulling tight end and pulling guard accidentally block the same guy and not to their normal assignment, because this is real life. I mean, it's easy to break down this run scheme when I'm sitting on my couch, but when you're actually, having live bullets, to have your tight end know his responsibility to come all the way around and get this guy, that's good execution. And it's good vision too by Price. Gets through, breaks a tackle. Easy money. But and this one right here is the touchdown run. I'll play it from the all 22 version and then or angle, and then I'll break it down from the back view. Price, the burst, the acceleration. Right here, I want you to check out. Look at this right guard. Look at this right guard. Get up onto the linebacker in a hurry. Linebacker, I need better awareness. You got the Tight ends blocking back. Offensive line's flowing this way. And check out my guy right here, right tackle. Just domination up front. Or sorry, right guard, right guard, right guard. Quickly gets up on the backer. This is just too easy. Yes, you like the violence here from the defensive tackle for USC, but this hole is ginormous. Good luck, safety. Good luck coming down here and making a tackle again, because Price, this isn't just, hey, insert a random scout team running back. This is a dude now. This is a dude. Pancakes all around. And the reason he's not playing, Price that is, or the reason he's not a starter, even though I think he's that good, he would start on most teams in the country, is because I do think they have the best running back in the country as their starting running back. And that is this dude right here, Jeremiah Love. Look at how violent this run is. This is excellent blocking scheme by the offensive line. I'll play this view and then I'll draw it in the back. Look at 74, Notre Dame's left guard, and how he washes USC's defensive tackle down. This is what I'm talking about. USC's defensive linemen, it feels like they're playing timid. It's almost like they're playing so they can be the person that goes back to their defensive meeting rooms being like, I did my job. I stayed in my gap. I wasn't the one that got out of my gap. But they're not looking to make a play. They're not holding firm, looking to make a tackle. It's almost just like kind of running themselves out of the play. And this is the perfect example. I get that this defensive tackle is sliding, towards his left, but look at the guard for Notre Dame just totally kick him out of the club. And then it allows Love to break through. Look at this. Or cut through, find a lane. Right here. Look at that. Watch. Boom, boom, boom. Easy money. That is excellent offensive line play. And then look at the run at the end. Jeremiah Love, after contact. I have the stat here. Jeremiah Love, 24 carries, career high, 228 yards and a touchdown, 5 catches, 37 yards. 107 of Love's 228 rushing yards were after contact. Right here is an example of 8 of those yards coming after contact. Let's get back to Price, Jadarian Price. I love how slippery he is. He's not small necessarily. He's got the burst. He's got power, but he's able to get skinny. When you hear an announcer like me and you're sitting on your couch saying, oh, running back does a great job getting skinny, this is what get skinny means. Price had 13 carries, 87 yards and a touchdown, 1 catch, 9 yards. But check this out real quick. USC is going to bring a safety into the box, trying to get involved. Notre Dame's run game's killing us. Notre Dame's tight end, man, he blocked well. I didn't catch his name. I gotta be better at that. But he's gonna block defensive end. This should be a matchup. If you're USC, physical defensive end, you should win on a tight end. Tight end should not be able to control you one-on-one. And then what happens is Notre Dame is gonna flush down this way. And USC gets out of their gap. No one from USC's side defends this C gap right here. And Price is going to take advantage. There's a mix-up between defensive tackle, linebacker, and safety. Bang. In terms of you got safety here in the B gap. You got a D tackle here in the A gap, I want to say. You got Gentry, who's a hell of a player. Maybe trying to roam, trying to find the right gap and play running back as a linebacker to come up and make this tackle, but he gets sucked up on the inside. This is why I also like run games that can get to different things. You've seen Notre Dame run inside zone. You've seen Notre Dame run counter. This is more outside zone. They're trying to enter this ball behind the tight end and the tackle, which then if you're a linebacker, you've been getting killed inside the whole game. Maybe that makes Gentry just a step slow. He's hanging inside the box. And then you got just clean lane right here for, sorry, it's a terrible arrow, for a huge gain. Bang, bang, slip. Oh, that was my whole point. Sorry, my whole thesis. Look at this is getting skinny. Look at that. He's going to use his right foot, cut up, and get skinny through this hole. Bop. So slippery. That's so good, too. A lot of young running backs might try to bounce that thing and only get 3 yards, cut up, and make a play. And Tanner, let's get to those slides real quick. Just for some context stat-wise, I thought this was really interesting. Yards per attempt leaders in the Power 4. Pause, take a second to glance at this. They got 2 dudes in the top 10. And their backup running backs right now, sitting Notre Dame, that is, sitting at number 4 in the country. You got 2 running backs in the top 10 in the country in yards per attempt. That's getting it done. They're both guys are top 5 in touchdowns in the Power 4 as well. Love's got 9, Price has got 8. That's a recipe for playing football into January. And then one more just for good measure. Rush yards in the Power 4. This is a lot of names, a lot of text, but obviously pay attention to the 2 highlights there. Price sitting at number 23 in the country. Jeremiah Love sitting at 3. And I could have done a whole breakdown on Jeremiah Love. You guys heard what I said. I think he's the best running back in America. The full package. I love low-key, I love Isaac Brown. And the world saw him Friday night. When he's healthy, he's a stud at Louisville. But anyways, yeah, 2 guys, top 25 rushing yards in the Power 4. And when your identity is pounding the rock, that helps you in November when other defensive lines get extremely thin. And then just for fun, good measure, because if you're watching this, you love the X's and O's. Very rare. This is back-to-back weeks. We're breaking down a special teams play, which gotta love that. Shout out special teams. My dad was a kicker. My dad had a cup of coffee in the NFL. Tanner accidentally pressed a button about jotting down a script, so if anything looks weird on your screen, let me know. But all right, we're talking kickoff here. This is Jadarian Price's kickoff return. Don't get a lot of love from the specialists, so I want you guys to pay attention to 3 guys here. On kickoff, they number guys like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in terms of number 1, furthest away. Actually, I don't know. Is number 1 closest or furthest to the kicker? Shows you how much special teams I've played. Someone in the comments, let me know. But anyways, I'm going to say number 1 is furthest away from the kicker. All right. This is the guys that are getting coached up in USC's special teams meeting. Max, how did this kickoff return happen? Sorry. How did this kickoff return happen? I point to number 2 in the line. I point to number 4 in the line. And I point to number 5 in the line. Number 5 gets held. The refs missed a call. USC got screwed. It happens. It's football. Number 4 on the line got absolutely truck stick. His shit got rocked. We got to be better than that. Notre Dame, good on you. And then number 2 down here on the bottom, this guy's got to make the tackle. This guy had a chance to make the tackle. He's wrapped up. But good luck when you have a starting running back, starting caliber running back, Jadarian Price, as your kickoff returner, not just a gadget slot receiver guy. He's going to break tackles. Might be easier when I get. So we're looking at 2, got to make the tackle. 4, can't get truck sticked. 5, I'm sorry, you got held. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Bang. All right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh. I'm the backup quarterback that did not play special teams. This is a violent game. This dude got truck stick. This dude's got to make the tackle. This dude's getting held. Missed tackle, truck stick, hold. It's out the gate. If Alex Wood was the kicker, though, I officiated his wedding last weekend. He would have made that tackle. He had a tackle. I got to find the footage. He had a tackle in the Notre Dame game in 2013 against Amir Abdullah. My 5'10", however much he weighs, little kicker making a tackle. It was hype. Shit was hype. This was not hype. Notre Dame did what Notre Dame does, and they got after USC. Mister, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Nick says, as much as I don't like ND, I can't help but root for Marcus Freeman. Seems like a good dude. He does seem like a good dude, and that dude is about to get paid even more than he already is. I was listening to a podcast this morning being like, yo, Florida's got to go get him. Penn State's already trying to go get him. That dude's going to leverage that, like James Franklin did, to get a lot more bread. Any chance you see UCLA defense winning against Indiana? UCLA defense is good. I need to watch UCLA's defense. 3 wins in a row. Money Policy News. Check out the last YouTube short that I posted. I'll make the argument. On Friday, I made the argument that Tim Skipper only needed to win 2 more games to keep his job. He could go 2-4 the remaining 6 games to keep his job. He just got 1 win. I think he only needs 1 more win to get his job, because then UCLA can get him at a discount from what the market of another head coach would be. Use those funds to keep Jerry Neuheisel. Use those funds to go invest in your roster. That might be the best strategy to go ahead for UCLA, because their schedule is so loaded. They got Indiana. They got USC, who I know USC just lost. They got Indiana, USC, Oregon. They just had Maryland and Washington. That's 5. I'm missing the 6th, but they're loaded. Huskies did not win. AJ says, the UConn Husky love. Shout out Jim Mora. All right, now we're going to, let's go a little Ty Simpson, baby. Ty Simpson. The Bama fans are watching the YouTube vids, so they're getting rewarded with more Ty Simpson content. And it's easy content to break down. Him and Garrett Nussmeier and John Mateer, when he's rolling, are probably my 3 favorite quarterbacks to watch this year. And that's a hot take. Who else I like? I love watching Jaron Kiave Sakapola Tele, who's going to be an absolute baller. Already is. But let's go little Ty Simpson footage. It is fun to break down. The dude is an absolute baller. And right here, after I share my screen, it's been 2 weeks since I've talked about Ty Simpson, so I'm looking at Tennessee clips and Missouri clips, and the whole shot king is back alive and well in the Missouri game. And there's no defense for a perfect throw. Like, Ty Simpson makes 2 or 3 elite throws on critical downs every game. So logically, it follows that there is no defense for Ty Simpson when he's playing at his best. And I love the entire sport of football. Obviously, that's why we're doing this show. But I played quarterback. And inevitably, that's where I'm drawn when I'm watching the sport. But amongst quarterbacks, there's levels to it to me, or there's niches to it. A lot of people might go the Lenora Sellers or the John Mateer route. For me, I love me some pocket passers. And I love watching Mateer and Lenora Sellers. But like, this style of play is where I'm drawn, because this is how I saw the game of football. When you're not able to rely on your legs and have to rely on your brain and your arm to have you play high-level quarterback. It's the intermediate passing game. That's one thing. And I got to find stats to back this up, because it's there. I see it on film every single week. But the intermediate passing game for Alabama is the best in the country. And by executing the intermediate passing game, I'm talking digs, I'm talking curls, I'm talking, sit routes at the sticks, I'm talking over routes. A lot of teams don't get to those. A lot of teams in college football are just RPOs and deep shots. If you have an intermediate passing game like Alabama has, oh, baby, it's going to give defenses nightmares, their coordinators nightmares, because they have to cover every single blade of grass. And when guys are throwing from the pocket, like the way that I played, that's what I like breaking down. Here we are, whole shot king. Let's get it. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, Ty Simpson rips a hole shot, and I swear every single game that he starts at Alabama, hole shot being in cover 2, you're ripping a ball right here on the sideline. All right, cool. Here we go. This is there's like a 4 verts type of action. It's actually a unique concept. I'll get into it. They got 3-by-1 to the field. They're motioning their running back into the backfield. They're going vertical to the far hash, vertical up the numbers, and then this tight end runs a 5-yard hitch. This is cool. This concept never existed when I played, or this action never. I never had this 5-yard hitch, and then the second that this corner latches on, the tight end's going to burst, and then it becomes like 4 verts. So if you have a vertical down here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 verts when it's all said and done. But the way in which you're getting to this vertical by the tight end up here is different because you're going hitch first, allow this corner to bite, and then you're going vertical. And then watch Ty Simpson paint this ball right here on the sideline. It's elite. It's elite. He makes this look easy. It is not. So I don't know what's happening there. Bang. Hitch and go. Boom. Tight window. Big time. Ty Simpson last week, though, I know we're looking at Missouri, but Tennessee went 19 for 29, 253 yards, 2 touchdowns. 8 of those completions were for 15 yards or greater in that Tennessee game. That's big time. That's pressing the ball down the field. And you can see that this was the best throw that I saw him make in the Missouri game. The next 2 clips of the Tennessee game. This is big-time quarterback play that on your couch looks super easy, and it's not at all. They got a little bunch formation, which, by the way, Kalen DeBoer does a phenomenal job of finding ways to get Ryan Williams open by leverage. He'll hide him in the slot, do some rub routes, kind of tuck him behind guys, and then release into the vacated zone. This is one of those right here. They got a vertical, a little return route by the tight end, and then Ryan Williams on a corner route. And watch Ty Simpson paint this ball here. Keep in mind, it's man coverage from the nickel on Ryan Williams across from him, and then there's a safety. If we're not going to get cut off, on the back of the Tiger's head right here, there's a safety out of this frame. So keep that in mind when Ty Simpson delivers this absolute dime. It's 3rd and 8, by the way. It's 3rd and 8. 3rd and 8 early in this game. Ball out, painted right behind his head. Goodness gracious. He makes that look easy. That is not at all. Give it to you one more time. Ball out. Oh, it wasn't Ryan Williams. I misspoke. Sorry, Bama's got too many good receivers. He paints this ball behind this defender's head, but not too far behind his head to not allow the safety back here to get involved. This was the best throw I saw him make versus Missouri. Bang. Great catch. Great catch. But great catches happen when quarterbacks allow their receivers to make the great catch happen. Excuse me. In terms of, all right, Max, we get it. You love Ty Simpson. He's been playing great. But the biggest improvement that he's made, and Tanner, let's show this slide real quick. The biggest improvement that he's made this year is in late down situations. I just showed you 1 3rd and down versus Missouri. He had another one in the Tennessee game as well. Check out this graph, though. You guys that have been watching these videos every single week, these spider charts basically are showing how effective, forgive me, they're basically showing how effective or how good you are in the major categories that determine quarterback play. Look at the 2 black arrows. Week 5 versus Georgia. In terms of late down effectiveness, Ty Simpson, not necessarily that great. Fine in the other categories, not great there. But week 8, this past week versus Tennessee, huge jump right there. And that means, hey, 3rd down, 3rd and long, quarterback down, money down. Ty Simpson is making plays and making it happen. And check out this throw right here. This was the best throw that he had in the Tennessee game. He's going This one is Ryan Williams for sure. Ryan Williams on a vertical over to the far hash. Let me play it one more time. I forget which receiver. They got motion, so let me see how the formation ends. Cool. Ryan Williams over here. He's going to hit him for the throw. Then you got a dig. I think it's Jeremy Bernard. And then you got a vertical route by the inside most receiver. Sorry, that's terrible drawing, but you guys get the point. Look at this throw he makes to Ryan Williams coming on the right hash. He's going to get hit. He's backed up into his end zone. He's throwing from his end zone. Bang. Absolute dime. Look at this. Again, he's throwing this from his end zone. He's getting pressure on his end of his drop from this dude right here. Hangs in there, delivers a throw. Defensive coordinator, you show this throw in the meeting room, you're saying you're tipping your cap if you're Tennessee's defense. You got a pass rush. This is a quarterback that made the perfect throw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bang. That's another little side note. Just keep this in the back of your mind. This is probably too nuanced for the general social media population. Ty Simpson does a phenomenal job timing up his footwork with the route concept and consistently goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ball out. 1, 2, 3, ball out. And a lot of college quarterbacks do like one, shuffle, hop, and they can find themselves getting off rhythm and off balance and not being on time. That's kind of what happens with Arch Manning. Like the play's there, but he's either too fast or too early or too late, whatever. Like Ty is always in rhythm, and it's more old school quarterback play, like in the late 2000s, early 2010s. Anyways, look at this throw right here. He's already ripped this trigger or pulled the trigger. He's going to get hit. Well, that looks pretty covered to me. I think you guys would agree as well. Incredible throw. Incredible throw. One last little one for good measure, and then I'll give you guys a comp that you'll like. Next concept, they got tight end going down the middle of the field. Again, back to that intermediate passing game. Most college offenses don't have the capability to get to this kind of play concept. This is NFL. This is what, when you're turn on NFL film, this is an NFL scheme. Vertical, corner, and then a dig behind it. And the reason you don't see it a lot in college is because, one, it's big play action with a deep drop. And a lot of offensive coordinators in college are afraid that if their quarterback takes a sack on a deep play action like this, your whole drive's screwed. You also don't call it because you don't have a quarterback that you trust enough to process at a high level here. He's having to sort through a lot of defenders to get the ball out of his hands here. And the guy that he's sorting through the most is this Mike linebacker. This Mike linebacker is the most dangerous player on this route concept because he's going to drop. And if Ty Simpson's late at all hitting this dig route, the Mike becomes involved. But he'll play action. His eyes go away from the defense, gets back up, and then rips like a 25, 10, 20, 30, almost 30-yard shot right to that dig route for what he makes look like an easy completion. But if it was easy, why wouldn't every college offense do it? And they don't. Check this out. Pop, 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 pop. Ball out. Bang. Doesn't allow the Mike to get involved. Big time. Right there, they make that look easy. That's what, a 35, 30-yard completion? Big time. Honestly, I wish I had the back for you. My bad, guys. I'll give it to you one more time. Honestly, this is like old school Alabama. Like AJ McCarron was running these concepts all day long. Pre-RPO, RPO spread them out days. He's having to manage this linebacker, and he's got this dig route. If you throw the ball here, it's picked or it's a kill shot. Oh, by the way, his back's going away from the defense, so he's got to trust his read, his pre-snap read, his eyes, anticipate, pull the trigger, ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's throwing the ball right now. He's already pulled the trigger, trusting the concept's going to run this backer off, but then that he can get the ball right in this window here. Bang. Bang, 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 bang. Ty Simpson is good enough for us to start making this comparison to a guy that had a lot of success. Tanner, throw up that slide. Guy by the name of Bryce Young, who happened to win the Heisman Trophy. You guys know we love this spider charts on the Mike Max Brown show. That spider chart for Bryce Young to Ty Simpson, awfully similar. In fact, some of those metrics are even better. Explosive play rate, EPA per play, overall success. Sorry, I'm on the wrong slide. It's slightly better. Yeah. Explosive play rate, EPA per play, success rate. And goodness gracious, that's goodness gracious. I haven't said goodness gracious in years. But the turnovers, that really jumps out. This marker on the top right-hand side just gives you a frame of reference for the trajectory that Ty Simpson's on. He is very much on the Heisman trajectory. Did I break down 4 throws? Yeah. All right, cool. And before we end up and I got to give a shout out for to the Bama defense too. To hold Tennessee under 30 points, that's big time. Also, one last slide comparison for Bryce Young here. Oddly similar, eerily similar, I should say. 18 passing touchdowns through 7 games, only 1 pick for Ty Simpson. That gives you so much trust if you're Ryan Grubb for calling these pass plays down the field. When you know your guy ain't going to turn the ball over. Those stats. The fact that the dude on the left won the Heisman makes you think that the dude on the right is well on his way. Chat, how we living? How about them Gophers? Very nice young core on both sides of the ball. I picked the Gophers to cover. For those of you guys that follow my picks on Instagram and Twitter, this was the first week where we were in the red all season. I was 7-8. So if you're going to be in the red, better be in the red just by 1 game. But that Minnesota is one we got right. Friday night, Minnesota, Gophers, Nebraska coming on the road after a week in which Matt Rule had to answer questions about him leaving the program. It's a great spot. Great spot to have the Gophers cover. Riley and Lynn are not dudes completely outcoached. They got outcoached for sure. UCLA is better coached than USC right now. Right now, I'd agree with you. Who else we got? YouTube, how we living? TikTok, how we living? Twitter, what's good? X, what's good? Do you think Mike Norvell gets fired during the season? He is a zombie right now. I watched his press conference this morning on the plane, and he looks like a wounded animal. And I get it; he's human. But if you compared the press conference that James Franklin had 24 hours before 18 hours before he got fired, it was a lot more firm, a lot more confident, a lot more decisive, a lot more optimistic than the Mike Norvell press conference, which is kind of feels like dead man walking. But man, if I'm Florida State, sorry guys, this is a good short form video. Thank you for the idea. Who gave me the idea? Florida State. Anyways, if you're Florida State, this is not the cycle that you want a head coach vacancy in, because you're gonna have to compete with Florida. You're gonna have to compete with Penn State. You might have to compete with Auburn. Who knows? Like, we'll see what happens with the other schools. But Florida State, 4th best job of those schools. Auburn now in the Power 2. Florida State, all right, it's probably 5 years ago a better job, but that's I'd rather be in a class where Florida State is the best job on the market, So then you get the best coach. Brownie College Football, which I love the username, says Eli Drinkwitz ends up at Penn State. I haven't heard that take. I hear Eli Drinkwitz to Florida. I hear why can I say his name? Eli Drinkwitz to Arkansas, staying in SEC country. I haven't heard Penn State. I don't know much about Drinkwitz, to be honest. Never interacted with him. He's part of that coaching tree. Wait, this is ironic. He's part of the Mike Norvell, Gus Malzahn, He's part of the Gus Malzahn coaching tree, right? Which is Mike Norvell as well. I'm pretty sure they coach together. It's kind of funny that comment happened in back-to-back questions. All right, last but not least, because I got to get to my Mariners. I know Tanner, my producer, wants to watch the M's too. So we got to get to one of my favorite quarterbacks. I'm a Garrett Nussmeier stan, and I love it. People are jumping off the bandwagon. We're hanging on. And if you're watching this vid and the footage that I'm about to show you, you're going to be saving your seat on the Garrett Nussmeier bandwagon. While everyone's talking about Fernando Mendoza for being number 1 overall quarterback, you put Fernando Mendoza in this LSU situation, I don't know how much success he's having. And it's funny. I was thinking back on like the toughest sack that I ever had in college was my sophomore year of high school. It was a corner cat blitz outside of the one that ended my career and ripped up my shoulder. That's a different ball game. That's like out of left field. But there was a sack my my sophomore year in college, corner cat. I got hit right between the chest plate, and I like go to the sideline with wind knocked out of me. Like, goodness gracious, football's a violent sport. I say that because Garrett Nussmeier probably had like 5 of those hits in that Vandy game. That dude is taking an absolute beating. Absolute beating. But if LSU, and if fixed LSU's problems were as simple as protect your quarterback, they would have fixed them by now. So what's really going on with Baton Rouge? What is wrong with LSU? It's not just the protection and the fact that Garrett Nussmeier is taking a beating. A lot of people are saying it's a Garrett Nussmeier issue. What's wrong with Garrett Nussmeier? The reality is nothing, but it's everything with nothing with him personally. It's all the supporting cast around him, and that's shown by this initial play right here. I'll give you the good to start this. You want to see Garrett Nussmeier at his absolute best? Let me just give you the very first third down of the game. We see this on our couch. He makes it look easy. It's not at all. In fact, literally the game that I just called, Syracuse versus Pitt, they asked Syracuse quarterback to make this exact same throw in the exact same scenario, 3rd and 8, first third down of the game. It's going to be a deep out to the field. Bang. Throws it behind his guy in the Syracuse game, ends up getting picked. Garrett Nussmeier delivers this to the wide side of the field, gets hit. Look at this throw. I made the out route the wrong receiver, but you get my point. You're going here with this out route. Look at this dime. Ball out, bop, money. Takes a hit, first down, next play. That is big league quarterback play. Right here, he's going to take a hit. 1, 2, 3, he's going to have a little baby hitch. Takes the hit on his ass, dime. 3rd and 8, wide side of the field. That is an NFL big boy level throw. The issues, though, with LSU, if you followed my content, their run game is atrocious. It's extremely basic. They literally, when they're running the ball, it's almost like the defense is laughing, like, "Oh, you're just kind of keeping us honest." But there's no real threat with the run game. They aren't protecting him well. We showed that. But then also receiver wise, there's this play right here, misalignment by the receivers, and if they get this right and you just go where you need to be on the field, I promise you, Garrett Nussmeier will give you the rock. This is going to be 4 verts from LSU. 4 verts, and there's a curl backside. Oh. The key teaching point, when you're a slot receiver on 4 verts, you cannot release inside if you can help it. Because when you release inside, you get funneled towards the safety. The green grass is right here. Stay outside the hash. If you are going to get funneled inside, then get back on the outside right away. Get funneled, get back to the outside. Don't get sucked into here, because what happens is this receiver, the 2 slot receivers, get too tight together, and this safety here in the middle of the field is able to cover them both. You're a slot receiver. Garrett Nussmeier is going to find you the rock. Get back outside. Check this out. He gets funneled inside. Look at how tight These receivers are together. If you're this slot receiver here, get back to the outside. Get back in this lane, because that's what Garrett Nussmeier, you can see his eyes. He's waiting for that to happen. He wants to drive the football right here. He knows that's the vacated zone. Instead, receivers are misaligned, and he is hitching, comes backside, has an opportunity for this curl route backside, but he's playing off rhythm because his receivers didn't help him out. It's little things like that. And now you might be like, oh, Max, it's just one play, just misaligned. But the problem is right there, that's an opportunity to go up 7-0 in the game on the road versus Vandy, get momentum on your side. You miss that play. I believe they had to settle for a field goal. Got to help him out, especially when you have one of, if not the best, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. John Mateer, Ty Simpson, him, Dante Moore playing really well. Fernando Mendoza, he's definitely in that top 5 conversation. Go to where you need to be on the field. Receivers, you've made good plays. Nussmeier is going to get you the rock. Right here, you got to protect him better. Max, give me a real example of what it means to protect him better. There's the obvious of when he's getting hit and he's on his ass. That's one thing. But another example right here is Vandy is going to go blitz 0. They're going to blitz 7 dudes and only have 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders on the back end. Excuse me. LSU has vertical routes. This might be a slam, but it's like a vertical post situation, and they got a vertical here. The mindset, Nussmeier knows this. I don't have enough blockers. I only have 5 offensive linemen and a running back. That's 6 blockers. Defense has 7 rushers. I just need to buy myself a half second, and I got a touchdown with my slot receiver, one-on-one with this man with no help over the top. The problem is, in offensive line gurus, let me know if I'm wrong on this in the comments, but the quarterback in me doesn't think so. They get to him, and the blitz pickup is better explained from the back view. So I'll wait to show that. You can see how frustrated this receiver is, though. He knows he has a touchdown. Look at his reaction at the end. He's like, yo, Nussmeier, throw it to me right here. Put some air on it. This would have been a touchdown. And you can see him hopping up and down. He's pissed off. That receiver doesn't know that, hey, I'm getting my ass hit in the backfield. Don't take your sweet time. But it's really, in my opinion, the offensive line's fault. And here's what I said. Here's what I mean. Could be wrong with this. Don't think I am. When a team's bringing 7 and you're this right side of the offensive line, your job is to block most dangerous. Most dangerous is this defensive tackle, which the guard will take. And then, in my opinion, this linebacker blitzing through the B gap. If I'm this right tackle, sink down and take this B gap linebacker blitzing. And then allow, as a quarterback, let me manage the big boy off the edge. 1, because he's not as athletic as the linebacker right here. But then 2, he has a further way to run to ultimately get me. And that half-second difference, if you were to sink down and pick up the linebacker, rather than this tackle going out towards the defensive end, that half second allows a quarterback like Garrett Nussmeier. Right now, he's in trouble. Linebacker's already on him. That half second, especially if he could just sink back this way, if that end was coming unprotected, he would sink back this way. That half second would allow him to see this picture ever so clearly. And rather than throwing the ball at his feet, you throw it over the top like the receiver knows down here for a touchdown. Little thing. I just show you 2 little examples. Receiver leverage, get back on your mark, and offensive line wise, sink down and block the most dangerous. Because when you do, Garrett Nussmeier will make you pay. He does not need a lot of time. Check this out. This is an absolute warrior right here. He's going to get hit. Look at how early he throws this ball on a little snap route to the outside. This ball is out early. It's out early, and he's still taking the hit and hanging in the pocket. NFL scouts are going to love this. This is consistent. This is all game long. 1, 2, 3, ball out. Gets absolutely blown up. Completion. He makes that look easy. Not a lot of college quarterbacks would. Not a lot of college quarterbacks would. Quick little stat for you. LSU 123rd in the run game in the country. In terms of PFF, LSU 123rd ranked run game in the country according to PFF with a run block grade good enough for 117th. That is terrible from a run game perspective, which is why we're breaking down so many pass plays, because there's like really nothing to really get to in the run game from a run game standpoint. You don't got a run game. You're doing a decent job protecting him. But then right here, if you just give him a half second, look at Garrett Nussmeier make this play. This is the home run shot. This is all Garrett Nussmeier. And his mobility, which is not what we usually talk about. Looks right. Flushed out. Half second. Just get the ball out. Find a way. Find a way. Breaks a tackle. House call for the Tigers. That is all because of Garrett Nussmeier's mobility. Now that you know it's a touchdown, look at this again. Nussmeier's going to look towards his right. Not there. Steps up, trying to find a different man. Getting pressure inside. Flushes out. Got two defenders in his face. And the knowledge to just know he has a safety valve here on the hitch and find a way in this body, with this body positioning, to just find a way to get the ball out of his hands. That is making a play. Garrett, I know LSU lost, and Vandy deserves credit, but you guys also know I love myself some quarterbacks, and the film is outstanding in this ball game. Vandy deserves some credit, though. They take over the number 10 spot. It's their best ranking since 1947. Shout out Vandy for getting it done. The Commodores didn't punt for the first 51 minutes of Saturday's game. So it's not only an offensive line, receivers getting their spots. I was more just giving you guys two examples so you know, hey, this is not a Garrett Nussmeier problem. Obviously, the defense could have played better in that game. Not punting for the first 51 minutes, Vandy, that is, in a ball game. That's getting it done. Let's look at LSU's schedule, though, real quick, moving forward, because they really have to get one of these Texas A&M or Alabama games. They're going to have to pull an upset versus A&M or Bama to find themselves as a backdoor CFP berth. Interesting to see what happens Brian Kelly-wise, especially for the point that I made earlier. If you're LSU, do you really want to be in this coaching carousel bloodbath circuit where there's a lot of big-time programs in the mix? It's a pretty good remaining schedule. SP Plus ranking, Texas A&M, top 10 in the country. Alabama, top 10 in the country. Oklahoma, top 10 in the country. They got to find a way. Don't know if I'm a believer in LSU this year, but I am a believer in Garrett Nussmeier. That is for sure. Vandy's coming for the Vols this year. AJ said in the chat. Good stuff, though. That's the 4 segments. I'll be coming out with the Georgia Gunner Stockton segment later this week as well. If you missed any of these, check them out. I'll clip them out tomorrow. It'll be good stuff. I also want to dive into BYU's quarterback, the Holy War. That was a sneaky big game in the Big 12 rankings, and BYU rolling with a true freshman quarterback. That he's playing at a high level, getting better every single week. D Temp, appreciate the comments, man. D Temp, thank you. There we go. Is that that's not Derek Temple, is it? The homie, my old teammate, D Temp. That's a niche reference. Anyways, all right, guys, I got to go watch the Mariners. Hopefully the score is good. Don't tell me if it's not. Anyways, good stuff. Keep it. We're active on all the platforms every single week during football season, as you know. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Appreciate you. If you're on Instagram, X, or TikTok and are not going over to YouTube, check it out because we're doing a lot of good stuff. We've kind of hit a new level, a new stride over there in terms of just metrics and numbers this football season, which is super exciting. And I appreciate you guys. X's and O stuff is good stuff, though. So I will see you guys next week. As you know, every Sunday, 4:30 West Coast time, that awkward slot in between the last NFL game before Sunday Night Football and Sunday Night Football. You want some football content? Come to the Max Brown Show to get your info. All right, guys. Have a good week.